If you have little kids like me, you'll understand the regular phenomenon where every few months or so their clothes are getting tight again. What a blessing to have growing children. I usually just chuck all of these too small items up high in their closet to delay dealing with it for a while, but eventually that deal with it later pile at the top of the closet does start to overflow, and that's when I know it's time to take 30 minutes or so to reset their shared closet. So today is that day. Christine of the past forgot to turn off the noisy air filter for this footage, so I'll spare you the racket and just dub over, I've got a trash bag and I've got some paper because I need to label pens. I've got a vacuum here and I'm drinking coffee. Okay. That was fun for me. Anyway, here is the before that we're working with. Cue the time lapse. So I'm going to start by just tidying the room, and then I will address the clothing specifically. I thought something was missing. I was tidying up their room just now and I was like, that went way faster than I thought it would. I forgot I have this whole bag from a weekend trip we just took that I need to unpack. So this is going to give me a more realistic sense of the amount of stuff that we're working with. I do usually tidy my girls' room every evening as they take a bath, and by doing it on such a regular basis, it never gets very out of hand. You might be wondering why I don't require them to tidy their own room, and it's simply because we don't spend that much time up here. We keep hardly any toys up here, just stuffed animals and books pretty much. And so their room is used for sleep, for reading time before sleep, and for clothing storage. And that means any messes that accumulate in here are typically my jurisdiction. All right, let's talk about the pile. Now, I know it looks kind of messy, but I want to point out that this is not actually an accident. It is a system. Really and truly, this is the system. When something no longer fits, I make sure it gets washed and then I toss it in the pile at the top of the closet. And once the pile grows so large that the tossed items begin toppling down on me, I schedule a time in my calendar in the very near future to do a closet reset. So this way I can pull out all our bins at once and evaluate what's worth saving, what needs to go. And what you see me doing here, by the way, is essentially adding to the pile by quickly combing through each item in the closet just to see, did it get overlooked? Are there more items? And indeed, I did find a few that were too small, too stained. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because I think we should normalize imperfect systems. You know, if you have a system in your home that keeps things humming along, but it's not necessarily the cutest or the most photogenic, don't let the pressure of internet performance rob you of celebrating that little victory, okay? So once I had my pile, and again, the broad category of this pile is just stuff we are not using day to day, I start sorting through it. So my next slightly smaller, but still broad categories, I guess, are keep and get rid of. Here is our keep pile. Now with that keep pile, I need to find homes for each of the items, but first a little storage bin detour. And this is where things get a little emotional. So storing my 4-year-old's clothes is pretty straightforward. Her little sister will grow into them. But deciding what to do with the clothes that my 2-year-old has outgrown, this is a bit trickier. Like, the truth is, we just don't know if we're going to have a third child. We know we're not having a third child anytime soon. So it definitely doesn't make sense to store baby clothes right here in this small closet. And as a minimalist, I value passing on the physical items that I no longer need. But every once in a while, we run into a category of items that I'm just not sure about. And something as sentimental as like a handful of favorite outfits from the wee little years, it's just not something I'm willing to part with yet. So I'm letting myself feel those feelings, and then I'll save just the favorites. I do have a bin in the garage for baby items. I'm comfortable with this bin taking up a little bit of space until my husband and I are ready to make a decision on the third baby question. So with the bin of baby clothes freed up, I'm making some new labels. The 4T wardrobe needed some extra space because I realized, when kids get bigger, so do their clothes. Next, I'm going to lay out the bins and labels and begin distributing the keep piles. Shifting around what lives in these bins rather than just getting bigger bins is important to me because I think that our homes are wonderful natural containers for our stuff. So we are blessed to have this small, like 200-ish square foot room for our daughters to share. That means the stuff they're going to be using day to day needs to comfortably fit in this space. And so, their bodies, their clothes are going to continue growing. I might have to get more selective in the future. That shoe bin I noticed is getting really full. So in the future, I might just save the most favorite, least scuffed shoes from each size for little sister. Maybe in the future, I'll decide we just don't have space to store clothes for our oldest to grow into. The system will evolve with us, so I'm not worried about sorting out the details right now. I just know that I always want to let my house be a comfortable container for my stuff. Storage units and bursting full attics are not my jam. I'm bagging up some baby girl items that we are ready to part with, and we're excited to pass these ones along to a friend expecting her first girl. And then I'll just slightly clean the closet before loading it back up. I did also get one new product that you'll see in a minute here. I think this one's going to help my 4-year-old get dressed by herself as she continues gaining independence. A couple of drawer dividers I'm putting in. These are going to help her see where each category stops and the next begins. Now I get to move out this pretty sizable pile of stuff that we're no longer using. This makes me so happy. We've got that bag of hand-me-downs for our friend, a couple of items that just belong elsewhere in the house, the favorite baby clothes that we're going to store in the garage just in case, and a couple of stained items for fabric recycling. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. I'm recording this a few days later, and I've managed to get most of it put where it needs to go. I'm waiting to pass those hand-me-downs to the friend when we see her. Okay, so for the 2-year-old, we mainly work with this area. We've got undies, shorts and bloomers, bathing suits. What's in there? I don't know, an empty compartment. Big pants, little pants, so like sweats, leggings, tights. And here would go nightgowns, those are all dirty, and 2-piece jammies. And then we've got her hanging clothes, dresses, shirts, jackets. Anything back there is winter gear or dress up. And then this zone up here is stuff that will fit her again this winter. When she grows into 3T, that whole wardrobe is there. Shoes she can grow into. And 4T when she gets there. The 4-year-old has jammies, dresses, tops and bottoms, jackets and bathing suits. And then she has one little bonus section over here, which is her fancy dresses that she needs permission to access. She doesn't need as much storage, but as she's gifted things that don't fit, or her winter stuff that will fit again when the weather gets cold, I store it up there. And if you're wondering, here in the center is just where I store kind of awkward stuff, extra hangers, organization systems we might use in the next stage, and then some random extra baby-proofing items. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today as I tackled one of those household chores that's never really done, but just needs to stay in a flow. And let's remember that when we are tending to our homes. Housework is never done, it just stays in a flow. I would love to hear from you what imperfect systems you're proud of, so leave me a comment below. If you found this video helpful, I'd love for you to stick around, subscribe to the channel, or add another one of my videos to your watch later list. I love bringing you the homemaking for real people vibes. So I'll see you in the next one, friends. Bye!